Hugh Cahirlock. Also, I'd just like to say what a great help and support you were during the time that we had mentioned it there in your address. And I know when we were working on the project, you were really the backbone to us, and without your help and support, I don't think we'd be here today, so thanks again. I suppose, moving on, about 18 months ago, Mayo County Council went about establishing a new tourism and food strategic policy group. And the objective, or the thinking behind this group, was to grow tourism and the food potential here within the county. And I'm delighted to say that we have the chairman of that committee here this evening. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the chairman of our Tourism and Food Strategic Policy Committee, Councillor Gerry Coyle.
How are you all? I hope Michael, as well as putting the house on it, you might put number 1 on the old ballot paper as well. I wouldn't disagree with that. First of all, you're all very welcome, and I want to thank the people for the invite. I have the privilege of chairing a wonderful group of the SPC. There's councillors, there's individuals, and there's people that I've come to meet on it. And I don't know one single person that's on it that doesn't mean the best for the area they represent, whether it's as a councillor or as a community person or whoever it is. And I want to thank some of them here today, but as Michael said, naming these people can be very dangerous. So, there's an old saying down our side of the world anyway. I come from a little village of Gisala, in the heart, as they say, of the wide Atlantic way. Unless you know where you're going, you can't ask anyone the way. And that's what this SPC started to do. They started to have a plan. You wouldn't go building a house out there in the field without a plan. You wouldn't go doing anything without a plan. So we set out to do a strategy for County Mayo. But we wanted to listen to the people involved. And that's why we started the meetings off. We went to Knock Airport, as Michael said, the most important piece of infrastructure in the tourism thing here. We went to Westport, we went to Ballina, we went to Belmullet. We have gone to listen to what the people want. And sometimes in the pub you might meet someone and they'll say, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? The best bit of thinking that was ever done in this country was the Wild Atlantic Way. It was there, but nobody knew about it, or it wasn't promoted. I meet so many people down in Belmullet, you know, they say, we followed the Wild Atlantic Way. Simple stuff. A woman that had been coming to us for years and years told me she now knows that if she drives down the little road with the little sign on it, she knows she'll be able to turn at the end of it. She said, I'm not great on the old steering, she said, but I was coming here for ages, but now, she said, I drive out, and I've seen places and others, she said, I never knew existed. Every year we run an old race meeting down there and the thing, and I think Henry McLeod just remarked to me there a comment I made last year when the Irish TV was down there. You cannot export the scenery we have to any place else. If people are going to come, they've got to come. They've got to come to the area to enjoy it, to see it. And they'll be made 1,000 welcomes, whether they're in Achill, Belmullet, Blacksod, wherever they come. That's what they have to see when they arrive. But for too long, I will say this, we took them for granted. And indeed, I've said it before in other forums, our national airline took them for granted. Because when they come home, if somebody had come from England or America sometime, and I'd like them to take this message back, if there's anyone here from the airline business, the dearest virtue water to cross in the world seems to be the channel from here to England. You can fly out to all the hot countries from London for €99, and yes, it's 240 or 250 to come. And then if you come from New York, and you go back with our national airline, and you have to move your ticket for a day or two, it's $1,000 to change your ticket, even though there's loads of empty seats on the plane. That's not fair. And if we want people to come here, we've got to give them value for money. We've got to respect them. We've got to respect them when they come. Because, as I said, they can fly to London, and they can fly all over from London to all places in the world. So our most valuable asset is, without a doubt, Knock Airport. It's without a single doubt in the world, Knock Airport. Because I can be at Knock, I'm 4 hours from Dublin, but I'm only 3 hours from London. That's the way it is where I live in Gisala. I'm up at Knock in an hour and a half, and I can fly to London in an hour, and you can go any place in the world after that. So, I want to especially thank, and I will maybe leave people out, but I want to thank Christina Lynch, I want to thank Anna O'Connor, I want to thank Padraig Philippin, Joanne Graham, who has brought a lease of life to the committee, to Peter Hines. There's another man here that has done a lot for tourism in this part of the world, and that's Martin Keating down there. I have worked with you, Martin, when you were in the job you were in, and I'd like to compliment you on the great work you've done, and I'd like to wish the very best to your replacement, Tom Gilligan, over here, who will bring new enthusiasm and new things. So you don't want, as Michael said, you don't want to hear me, but there is one man I want to compliment. And I know you say it might be a party political broadcast, I don't care. And that is to compliment the Minister for Tourism, Mr. Michael Ring. Because he's a Minister for the West as well as a Minister for Tourism. And a friend of mine who would not be a supporter of Michael Ring rang me from New York one night to tell me that your buddy has been interviewed on the radio out here, and he must have mentioned Mayo, he said, about 25 times. He mentioned a few other places as well. Now, our strategy is this. And I'm not at football, I'm not great at football, but we don't seem to be able to beat the Kerry boys when we go to Crow Park. But maybe we'll beat them in the tourism yet. And when we have people like Mary Tallet over there, Mary Tallet Walsh and Rena Garrett, who's doing so much. We have the best place in Ireland to live is Westport. The best place to go wild in Ireland is the Erris region. So you're all very welcome down there anytime you have a few hours to spare. And don't be complaining about the road rightly, lads, because it's the same distance for us going the other way if we have to come up here to Westport and every place else. Everyone be careful on the roads on the way home. Thanks very much for coming and for listening to us, and God bless you all in your care.